Welcome back to the tutorial for God of War 2018 on the hardest difficulty setting. And this section actually has some hard fights, but a lot of them can be exploited by using the grinders and various traps. We can just have all the enemies die in the traps. But there's still some hard fights. But, you know, nothing too hard. There is one that's pretty damn hard, though, with two travelers. That's tough. I definitely died several times on that. But I don't think this segment took me, like, too long. Maybe I spent an hour in this area total, but not too long. I think I spent about an hour. But yeah, basically, you obviously want to avoid the fire. Maybe try to knock the guys into the fire so they do some, they get some extra damage. And then after you kill those guys, you got one of these guys that comes out. Of course, it's worth targeting him first because, you can then ride him and kill everybody else, as usual. I was also using the blue arrows a lot more often because I believe they do more damage, and I didn't always need the stun. Sometimes I just wanted more range damage. But yeah, the annoying thing in these fights can be the fire burning you. You know, that's the main nuisance. Because you've dealt with these arrangements of enemies before, so it's nothing special. So yeah, I said fuck it, I use a little rage. I used it actually pretty early. Or actually, I was thinking about my resurrection stone. I don't know when now I use that. See, so I wasted that early in this. And then I have to fight against two travelers without the resurrection stone, so that fight was harder. It would have been useful to have it for that. But, I kind of just wanted to progress. I wasn't too concerned about it. I figured I would beat it either way, so. I guess I didn't end up riding him. I just ended up using that, because I had the Berserker resurrection stone that gave me a full rage bar, so I just wasted that up. And that cleared out most of the enemies, and I just finish them off. The fire by itself is very easy to watch and dodge. It just becomes annoying when you're trying to move around quickly and get away from enemies. And, if you don't have your camera focused on the flames, you may not realize where they're going to come out next. So you can get blindsided by it. It can be annoying. You can always do some ranged bullshit with your axe. I notice I haven't really been using it much at all since I got the blades. I used to use, in the early videos you'll see me throwing the axe like crazy to exploit the enemies, but, eventually that's not very effective anymore, and I learned how to play a lot better since then. But yeah, here you can use the grinders, and the enemies will just come in and commit suicide, basically. You may have to lure them in sometimes, but they will pretty much just die. If an enemy's not coming to you after a while, just find where he's at and then just run back in. But I think that was just one little scraggler. There wasn't many. No, now some more enemies come. So see, now I go back. I run back between this blade. And, see, they'll start dying in here now. And normally those guys would take a lot of hits, so, it makes it very easy. Save yourself a lot of time. Unfortunately, you can't do that to the two traveler enemies. That's the hardest part of this area. I show this because this is a chest that you might miss if you're not paying attention. You just grab a few of these glowing things and bring them to that door. But if you're not really looking at the door, you may walk past it. So I don't remember what was in here. I think it's some kind of attack that I'll never use, but somebody may find it useful. Actually, yeah, I did end up using that on regular enemies, so I guess it's pretty useful. But by this point in the game, I'm after the, shortly after this is going to be the final boss. I think there's one more huge fight left, but I didn't end up needing that attack too much. I mean, it's not bad. Okay, yeah, that was a bunch of deaths edited out because this part's tough. So I died a lot on this. This is probably where I died the most. And I said shit got crazy at this part. I think I end up going crazy with the rage, and I'm able to take this guy out early. Even though I'm almost dead, I think I get this guy. I target this guy and take him out. Maybe not right away. And I'm using the blue arrows here because I believe they do more damage, so I'm trying to get damage off of that at this point. And now I just try to survive for a while. It gets very intense. But once I kill one of them, it's pretty easy when you only have one of them left. You just have to, whenever you see that skull being raised up, you have to hit that because they'll do an area attack that'll pretty much one-hit kill you. So just be aware of that. But once I kill this asshole, remember, using the rage attacks, use the rage punches because the boulders don't seem to hurt them very much. So go into rage mode, punch the shit out of one of them. And if you do it right, you can get about half of their health down just from the rage punches. And you can try to finish them off with Blessings of Frost and your axe attacks. And then once you only have one of them left, it's easy. It can take some time if you're playing carefully. I just take my time on this shit because I didn't want to repeat this sequence again, so I'm not really that good at fighting them up close. Especially with the fire and shit moving around. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, so just try to keep out of range of the fire, keep your distance and try to make sure you don't get backed into a corner where you have to run into the fire to get away or something like that. You don't want to have to do that. So just pay attention to what's going on. But yeah, I think the blue arrows do a lot of damage over time. Eventually I can also charge up my rage again and use that if it takes long enough. So, I mean, playing it patient, there's a lot of options. I'm not sure why it only shows their life bars sometimes. It's a weird thing in the game. But see, when he raises that, always hit it with your axe. Just pay attention to make sure, because he will do it frequently sometimes. Like you'll see here, he starts doing it again and again. He becomes obsessed with doing that for some reason. And that can pretty much kill you if you wait too long to take it down. So that was getting kind of close. I believe that skull attack, if he charges it up, goes through everything, so it'll probably go through that middle pillar and it'll just go through everything and just kill you. It's extremely overpowered. I could use my my Blessings of Frost, but I think I played safe for a while. Okay, now I use it. Yeah, and see, that's a really, really good runic attack. I have it fully upgraded as well, so it does pretty good damage. But see, now he becomes like immune to all attacks when he raises that skull, so. And I pretty much finish him off mostly barehanded for a little while. Because I didn't retrieve my axe, so I just decided to punch him to death. But yeah, that's probably the hardest fight in this area. And for some reason, there was still an enemy moving around. I think it was like a some basic enemy or something, like maybe a nightmare or something. I don't know what it was. Or no, maybe it was actually these assholes, I think, on the other side. It was showing them. But yeah, all you got to do is go back behind these grinders again and do the same kind of shit. And you can lure enemies in there and they'll just all get crushed. Sometimes they get through, though, if you're not careful, so... That guy went for a ride somehow. He got taken up when it went up. It was kind of weird. But if you can knock them back, you know... If I was using my blades, I probably could have just kept them back. The blades are good for this part to keep the enemies back. You know, a lot of enemies will come in, but you can just do the same shit. And if you want, you can stun them so that they get stuck and crushed. Or eventually, you know, if you shoot them enough times, you'll just kill them from the arrows. So either way. Throw in a few axe throws, you know, mix it up. And I think that pretty much clears this area, so it's really not that hard. Aside from the travelers and the giant room's a little tough. Actually, yeah, there's one more asshole here. I think I had to lure him into the crusher, and that would probably complete the mission. But the game is starting to come to the end now, so there's not much left. And stay tuned for the next video.